Why is it that when you were kids, we always were attracted to the things that are dark? The first thing we do at campfires is tell scary stories. One of those things that attracts us during the year is the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead is a little different to Halloween, although very similar. On the surface it appears harmless enough, even bringing families together, living or dead. That can't be a bad thing, can it? Let's have a closer look at the Day of the Dead. Like Halloween, the Day of the Dead appears to be built from the history of Samhain. Samhain is supposed to be a god of death. This was celebrated on November the 1st for a long time in history, and it was thought that when someone died, they inhabited animals. On this day in November, it was thought that there was a bit of a crossover. Some Catholic traditions even believe that on this day, the dead travel back to their homes. In Mexico, families would even spend the night in a cemetery, like camping, with their departed loved ones' graves, taking candles, placing and offering flowers and their loved ones their favourite foods. If they stayed at home, they might build an ofrendas, which is an altar to the dead, and again put photos, flowers, and go so far to add breads and candies with symbols of death, including skulls. And I guess this is where the famous candied skull comes into it. Whole villages and towns would rally together as a united front to give the dead offerings. I guess they were trying to connect with the ones that have died, as if they were coming to a family dinner. All of this to appease the dead, to make sure they go on to heaven and not to haunt the earth anymore. The interesting thing is that in 610 AD, Pope Boniface IV created the Feast of Martyrs on May the 13th. This is where it may have stayed, and we may never have the Day of the Dead, or even Halloween for that matter, if that was the case. However, Pope Gregory IV in 835 AD created an edict that all missionaries took out into the field, that they were to assimilate to the local traditions with the ones of the church. In so doing so, to All Saints' Day was moved on November the 1st. The name of this, All Hallows' Day, became All Hallows' Eve, and of course, Halloween. The Day of the Dead technically encompasses all 3 days: Halloween, All Hallows' Day and All Saints' Day on the 2nd of November. Deuteronomy 12:31. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, because in worshipping their gods they do all kinds of detestable things that the Lord hates. There is also another verse, Isaiah 8:19 says, so when they advise you, ask the mediums your questions and quiz the spiritualists who chirp and mutter. Yes, it does say chirp and mutter. Shouldn't people instead be consulting their God and not the dead on behalf of the living? God is about life, not death. Once we are dead, our time is done. We go to heaven or hell. We have made our choice. We are with God or not. There is no middle ground or haunting, etc. The Bible is very clear. So, for this Day of the Dead, let's make it about the Day of the Living. Might start something, who knows. Catch you in the next one, and remember, the truth is in there.